folks, welcome to a quick editorial. Yes, now, you've seen a lot of my videos, including the one that went up today, the anthology, and for the last few episodes, you will know I pre-recorded a bunch of videos in this wide-angle view. And I wanted to get your guys' opinions on it to see whether you preferred it or whether you hated it. I would have probably preferred it if it was one-sided, regardless of which way it was, that you hated the new version or you loved the new version. The problem is I ended up with a bit of a Brexit-style vote on the, oh, good and bad. And the comments I was getting from you guys was very good. Thank you so much for that, the useful feedback. And I admit, there's pros and cons to using both sides. The problem with the 24mm version is that it's fixed manual focusing, which means I can't hold things up to the camera like I do with the wide angle because it won't change the focus. So I can't show off components very easily there. The other disadvantage is that it's fixed zoom and bokeh style lens, which means I can't edit the zoom. I have to position the camera on the other side of the table, which means the microphone has to be sort of positioned there, pointing at me on a separate tripod, which is a bit more of a hassle to set up, but it does look a little bit more professional because I'm here off center usually, and then pictures appear there and and stuff like that, and then you've got the slightly blurred background behind me, but you don't get to see much of my collection. So there's pros and cons for that one. Pros and cons of the wide angle one is that big pro, I like the fact that you can see most of my collection. I like the fact that I can show off more of what I do in this room. And also the fact that it's auto-focusing means that I can hold stuff up close to the camera and the camera should zoom in on it so you can show off the actual components when I get stuff out of the box. Also, the microphone is so close to me on the camera that I don't have to do a lot of post-production in order to get the audio right. I don't have to up the gain by a huge amount or something in order for it to pick up my voice. Now, of course, the downside, and a lot of you picked up on this, is that there is a slight distortion fishbowl effect with wide-angle lens, which makes me look a little bit like Mr. Fantastic on occasion, especially with the fact that I'm usually a bit more energetic in my reviews, being unscripted and a bit more passionate than typical, and so, my hands are all like this, it's like watching Matt Smith on Doctor Who all the time.
Are you capable of speaking without flapping your hands about?
Yes. No.
And it can look a little bit, weird. Yes, I do admit there is that problem. And also the other problem, which I think I fixed for the most part, is that as much as it's good seeing my whole collection, the top of my shelf is basically covered in lots of board game crates and, like LCG boxes and big vaults. And whereas they're great for storage, they're not exactly lookers, are they? They're just basically wooden boxes. And I think someone commented that I looked like I was moving house. So, and to be fair, he had a good point. So what I've done is, you'll notice I've propped up a few empty boxes up there. I keep a bunch of empty boxes for no reason I can think of, actually. I'm one of these people that finds it hard to chuck away a box if I like the artwork on it. It's like, oh, but it looks so cute, nice, I want to do it. So all of these are empty. All these games are either in bigger boxes or in expansion boxes or whatever, and they make good. They cover up the boxes pretty nice. I mean, now you can see some games that you couldn't otherwise see on the shelf. I own them, and you gotta admit, does it not look a little bit better? That's all well and good. However, it all comes down to this: where do I stand with which lens I go with? Do I stick with the old version? Do I move on to the new one? The problem is I don't want to alienate half of my audience here. My viewership has reached a bit of a stalemate at the moment, where I noticed there was a big uphill trend of new subscribers, and it seems to have peaked at a certain point. Now I need to push it forward. So by all means, if you watch the videos and you like what I do, please subscribe to the channel. It would mean so much to me. But again, I don't want to suddenly go, right, well, half the audience doesn't matter because I'm going to do this lens from now on. As much as people say, do what you think feels comfortable, it's your show. Yeah, but it's also on behalf of you guys as well. I don't want to suddenly, tick off 3,000 subscribers as a result. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of compromise with both, because I don't want to waste this lens. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to use both lenses, but with different videos. So, when I figure out how to get solo plays to work, that would just use whatever lens I can figure out, so that'll be fine. But what I'm going to do is the actual reviews, the proper reviews, are going to resort back to the 24mm lens. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Firstly, at least nearly half of you said you prefer the old format. It's not like I can just cut you guys out of the loop. But also, when I think about what I want publishers to do, which is to share my content, and put them on their pages, on their Kickstarters to say, oh yeah, the Broken Meeple reviewed this video, I kind of want it to look a bit more professional. And this one doesn't look as professional. This one looks a bit more informal, which granted is more my style. But still, I want there to be the, professional there, the blurry background. It works for a few people. I noticed, a good example was Game Boy Geek. If you watch some of his videos, I think his has a similar blurry background, and he's an off-center and pictures show up, and I'm not going to put music with it, but it works for him. It's a good style, and I like that. It looks very professional. Now, some people have got like $1,000 lens, and they can basically go, oh yeah, well I can have wide angle without the fishbowl, and it's blurry and all that stuff. Well, yeah, so could I if I could afford £1,000 for a lens. The wide angle cost me £160, and already that was, this. Patreon only goes so far in funding the channel. I have to use my own pocket a lot of the time. But, it's not cheap to get lens, okay? And to get a lens that will do wide angle, while zooming, and autofocus, and allow a low enough aperture to get in, because bear in mind, this is a 4.5. I have to go crazy with the lighting in order to get this to work. But, the 24mm has the advantage of being a 1.8 or 2 point something. I think it's 2.5 or something, but it's basically very easy to deal with low light conditions, particularly when I'm in this room. So I'm going to resort to 24mm for the review videos. The reviews and the anthologies will use the old format, but I will work on trying to get that manual focusing right, maybe like position the camera better. Maybe somebody might convince me to get one of those lavalier mics rather than use the shotgun mic for those ones, because, like I say, the shotgun mic has to be positioned away. Although, to be fair, you lot weren't complaining about the audio on those videos. You said it was pretty good. So maybe I'm kind of overthinking it, but we'll see. However, the wide angle I'm going to keep for editorials, for vlogs, because I think vlogs are more informal. I don't really need them to look professional, and for top 10s. I feel that with the top 10, I like you to be able to see more of the collection. I want to be able to show off the game if I get it off the shelf. I want to get more passionate about it. And so top 100 is going to be like this as well, wide angle. And I just, like I say, it will mix and match so that you can get different content on my channel. You can get different formats. I don't think, people weren't necessarily saying, oh, I don't like the wide angle format, therefore I'm never going to watch any of your videos again. No, but there was clearly a like and a dislike for both setups. But it seemed like it's, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, in the sense of the 24mm. So the wide angle, I think, is good. But yeah, I understand people's problems with it. So I don't want to make the wide angle the review format, because there's going to be considerably more of those videos than there are the top 10s, as much as I love doing the top 10s. So that's kind of the way I'm doing it. I'm going to basically compromise and do both. So reviews, 24mm, top 10s and editorials, and like vlog stuff will be wide angle. Granted, maybe there'll be more of those vlog stuff in the future, but like I say, a vlog is a few minutes of just me talking at a camera. So, do you really need it to look that professional? I find the wide angle would look better. So, yeah, that's kind of what I just wanted to say on the matter. So I will tweak the position of this camera and, stuff like that, if people are a bit annoyed with the distortion and that. But as I say, it's always a learning curve. But again, thank you very much for the feedback. It's been a useful sort of experience trying to get everyone's views and try and, cater to everybody. And of course, I want this channel to grow. I'm getting more contact with publishers now. I just need to really get the viewership up, because I'm noticing that views on recent videos have been fairly low with some of the review ones. I mean, granted, they're not as well heard of games like Small Island, Realm of Sand and that, but, like I say, I want to grow this channel. I want it to push. So by all means, share the content, put in a good word if you can. It really helps my, my motivation. And obviously, if you haven't subscribed yet and you want to, then please just hit that subscribe button and push those subscriber limits up, because it would be a dream to see this break 10,000 subscribers. At the moment, I'm on 6,688 or something like that. And like I say, I'm closing up to 7,000. It's going to be a long, long time before I hit 10,000, but I would love to. I would love to break that mark. So thanks for tuning in, and I better go on with recording the next video, which is the top 10 next step games. Yes, I've been looking forward to doing some more top 10s, and this one I think is going to be quite a popular, if somewhat debatable list. So I'll see you on the next video, guys, and remember, as always, it's only a game and only a YouTube channel, but it's my passion. I want to keep it going. So take care, and I'll see you soon.